Look what's coming in your mail. It says get 11 albums for only $1 when you join the Columbia Record and Tape Club. Terrific? Well, I'm about to tell you how to go this offer one better and get 12 records or tapes instead of 11 for that very same dollar. First, look inside. You'll see over 300 great albums. It's easy to find 12 you want because you have a choice of all the top labels. The music and performance.
Well, there were all kinds of Columbia House commercials to find online. I picked a really old one because the lady was thumbing through her 8-track tapes, and they were pitching bands like the Carpenters and Barry Manilow and Captain and Tennille. Vinnie Barbarino had an album for some reason, some band called Kiss. Anyway, that was neat, but we've all seen them. And this week, we got 2 bits of news. One, Columbia House Record Club is calling it a day. They are wrapping up after 71 years of business. And item number 2, I'm no longer under threat of arrest. We're going to talk about this weird little record buying club, the impact it had on this generation, and we're bringing an old friend back to do it. Let's do this one for Dolly. Eddie, welcome in.
Scott, I am glad to be back. How you doing, man?
I am great. We've had so many comments here about you, what I did with you, where I put the body. Why isn't Eddie here? We love Eddie. Eddie Wilson.
Well, rehab was nice. I'm glad to be out and glad to be back on your podcast.
That's right. I guess you heard the intro. We're talking about Columbia House because an absolute stalwart of Gen X is Belly Up.
I think everybody in our generation was a part of Columbia Record House.
I don't know anybody who didn't do that. So if you were Gen X, you know exactly what Columbia House was. They had a Parade magazine in the Sunday paper, and a lot of magazines aimed at youth offered 12 CDs or tapes and records for a penny. The most famous ad that I've seen has the white gloves holding like a police cassette or some kind of 80s something. So, because he was going to get that for a steal.
For a penny?
12 cassettes for a penny. That's hard to pass up, right?
I got albums. I went pure vinyl with Columbia. Is what I did.
Gosh. So you did do it. You're a veteran.
Absolutely. 100%. And here's the thing. It worked. It was real. They meant it.
It worked. That's exactly right. So I did it in the 6th grade. And I remember being in my room and I was so excited. I cut the little card out and the older versions had you peel off stickers and put what record you want. But they went all Weekly Reader or the Scholastic Book Forum after a while and just had you check off next to ones. So a little background here. This was a record company that would send you, like Eddie said, 12 records or tapes, and it was a penny. It was a gimmick to get you to join the record club, and it was indeed a club. And most kids just filled those out, sent it in. I know a guy, wink, that filled one out using a pseudonym, and he got his cassettes. Actually, he lived on my street, and it was just like this big heist. It was like, no way that worked. And then the letters would come. So what happens is you would get your free stuff, and then every month they would mail you a card. This sounds like Little House on the Prairie. They would mail you a card.
It does. After you got done milking cows and churning butter.
Right. Yeah, because you sound like your grandpa telling you, we'd get war tokens and we could go turn that in for a Hall & Oates record. Like, okay,
Yes.
Weird. So that's what it was. It was a record club, and once a month you would get something. And that's how come I have a Cyndi Lauper cassette tape in a landfill in Oklahoma, because they just kept mailing them. And they'll send you a card of what's coming, and you just ignore it because I treated it like a term paper at school. I'll wait till later. And so I keep getting these cassette tapes of just crap, stuff I don't want, I don't listen to. So I had a surprising collection of R&B hits from Moore, Oklahoma. Didn't get a lot of spin time on the turntable, but they were mine. That was part of the deal. So the way it worked is it started in the 1950s. Columbia is a record company, And they famously started sending their record, little 45s out in mail order because retailers weren't everywhere back then. And, a kid in Kansas could get an Elvis 45 mailed to him. I'm sure their parents found out later too, like most of ours did. It was a weird setup. Actually, pretty brilliant. Columbia did that, and then they started licensing from other record companies. So a record company could hope that retailers, Tower Records or Kmart, wherever, would buy enough of their albums to defray the cost of making the album. Of course, that's how record companies work. But Columbia House would come to them and say, look, you don't have to worry about shrinkage or breakage in shipping. Let us have your masters. Let us make the recording from it. We'll put it on cassette and records, 8 tracks, I think reel to reel when they started. And you guys can guarantee extra albums being sold, but we're allowed to do this cheaper than retailers. So if a retailer bought a full album for like $2.20, Columbia House is stamping them out from Terre Haute, Indiana, making these things for about 20 cents. CDs later cost them 8 cents to go out the door. The jewel case, the artwork, the CD itself, they did them all for 8 cents a piece. According to this letter, I've heard as much as 20 cents, but still, that's killer. So they're mailing these out, and enough people would pay them $20 a month plus shipping for their 20-cent product that made this thing profitable for decades.
So I have a question for you. The first time you signed up, which, listen, you've got listeners right now going, I did this. I signed up.
Right.
Do you remember what you picked on your first order? Because I'm sitting here racking my brain. I remember the only one I can remember for sure that was Billy Joel's Glass Houses. I remember that was one of the first albums I got, but I'm trying to remember the rest.
That album, Still Rock and Roll to Me, I think was my first 45 I ever bought with my own money.
Nice.
From that album. I do. I know there was a couple of REO Speedwagons because of my boy Gary Richrath.
Of course.
And
R.I.P.
R.I.P. God, man, he was the best.
He was.
All right. Where were we?
Your original 12.
Yes. I was like the MC at a roast. I got a Hall & Oates tape because my sister loved them. Here you go, kid. And I'm like handing them out like currency. Because,
nice.
they were going to give me 12. There's not 12 bands I like when I'm 12. So, yeah, I had some spares. I think I remember giving a buddy down the street one of them. I don't remember what it was. So, of the core ones that I remember, I had the Wagon on a couple of them. There was a Van Halen that I snuck in because my parents didn't allow devil music.
Mm.
And Boston. A couple of, my brother's 10 years older than me, and I kind of got my musical taste from him. So I like all of his contemporaries, Benny Goodman, Scott Joplin, all those guys. So
Scott Joplin.
Yeah, my brother's old.
Man, he can do the Charleston too, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm just sitting here making the correlation. I don't think I've ever thought of this before, but basically Columbia Record House, they're like drug dealers in the sense
yes.
that the first one is free.
That's such a great way to put that. That's exactly right. And they essentially had a license to bootleg from these other companies because, and I would find this out later, but the paper inside it was thin and the artwork on the album was just it looks like a photocopy kind of. It's really, maybe a child colored this. This is awful. And if you listen to it, particularly on the cassettes, if you listen to it, it had an audible hiss. They weren't great quality. And it turns out they had dubbing machines that would, high speed dub these things as fast as they can.
Mm.
And so it was really low quality, but we didn't know at the time. We didn't have, we just didn't know. We were too busy trying to scam a record company.
Absolutely. So at first, like the drug dealers, your first one's free or a penny in this case.
Right.
You get your 12 records in, you're excited, you're on that high, but then they've got their hooks in you.
They've got their hooks. So the penny is actually brilliant. I used to work for a very smart guy. He was a manager at a polling firm that I worked for. And he received one in the mail from another company, an opinion poll. and it came with $1, like a crisp, brand new dollar bill for him to keep for his effort. And he said, man, that's brilliant. It cost them $1. And I bet you they get 20% more of these filled out because you've taken their dollar. So something in your brain tells you, I've got a contract with these guys. I owe them something now.
It's a transaction.
Yeah. I've never forgotten him saying that. That's very true. And so I think there was a little bit of that hook with this. And there are always the kids that dutifully stood by the mailbox and waited for the card and like, I don't know, Kenny G, I don't want this one. And so you've got to knock those balls over the net, or you're going to get a box full of crap like I did every month.
I didn't have the musical sophistication then as a teen that I do now. And I remember I got, because I didn't fill out the card, in the mail is Fleetwood Mac's Tusk.
Yeah.
And listen, everyone likes Fleetwood Mac, but I didn't necessarily care about them as a kid. And I certainly didn't care so much about Tusk. But it's mine now. I own it because I didn't hold up my part of the bargain.
Did you pay for it?
Yes, I paid for it because
that's it. So there were enough Eddie Wilsons to float this business long enough for me to get Hall & Oates tapes to give away.
Yeah, well, forgive me and my parents for instilling character and integrity. I just couldn't
look, Eddie. My parents tried so hard. It didn't take.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember the other albums I got because I just was. That's what they were banking on, kids being idiots and their parents footing the bill. And that's pretty much what happened with me.
They were banking on that and the innate laziness of Americans just to ignore it.
What a gamble and what a payoff.
Yes. So, yeah, it's a good story. I was a kid. I took a lark. The bad part is I did it again later, and we'll get to that.
Twice? You did it twice?
I did it again later twice. So I did it 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There's a method here. And I had a great idea. You know what? I fought fire with fire. And that's a good story. So what they called it was negative option billing, which means we slide everything across the table and then you're in the soup. Like you said, like, you get hooked to the good stuff. And then you're sitting there by the mailbox. What's it going to be this month? Like scratching your neck. So yeah, it's a good plan.
So, I mean, I never even considered this before, but what's the penalty? What could they have done if you didn't pay for more records?
I'll tell you what they did, at least in my mind, what they did. I got the cassettes, and I part of me, well, I'm still an optimist. I still think people are going to pull through. I believe people. I'm gullible. And when I got the box, I kind of even forgot what was in it. It was, to me, I got a package. And I remember taking it upstairs and opening it up like, oh, yeah. I remember filling this out. And so I went through all of them and I started playing. Oh, Bad Company was one of them, which I don't even really like Bad Company. I think it was just the orgy of free tapes. I just started checking everything.
Yeah, why not?
Right. So I went through those. And then, of course, there were a couple of duds because I didn't know enough music. And so Susan got Hall & Oates. And so what I thought was going to happen was I bought 12 cassettes for a penny. I got a deal. And I never even read. People are saying, like, I thought that other stuff wouldn't happen. I thought, I could just cancel the membership. I didn't think anything except, hey, 12 cassettes. And I never even gave it another thought. And then they started coming in. And then I started getting letters from their accounting department. And then they got bolder and darker ink where it says, you'll final notice and we will take action. And in my mind, I thought, I am going to be sued and drug into court and possibly put in debtor's prison because I can't mow enough lawns to pay all of the $20 a piece. And it's past the time to return these. So I got this one letter. I got this one letter that was really stern. And I got it out of the mailbox when I got home from school. My parents didn't see it. So take it upstairs and I'm sweating like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a dragnet and they're going to come get me. I was talking about it in school and another kid like next to me was telling me about it. And then a kid turned around that was in front of me like, yeah, me too. It's like, are these guys making any money at all? And then there was another person, well, you got to pay for them. Well, I'm not going to, I want 12 for a penny.
So you're telling me that you got your 12 for a penny and did not fulfill your part of the obligation?
I gave Hall & Oates away. See, I was altruistic. I was stealing from the rich to give to the stupid. Not my sister, just, the unwashed Okie kid, me.
I couldn't have done that. I fulfilled my obligation to the Columbia Record
Such a weird
House.
mix. But you're an only child, so you get the youngest child nonsense with the oldest child golden boy. Like you're tired. You got to be tired.
And my parents bailing me out. So they're the ones that wrote the checks for what, $6.99 or whatever it was.
Did you get a talking to?
Dad? Oh yeah, it was a talking to. Ad. Damn it, Ad. R.I.P.
So even though, R.I.P. He's there with Gary Richrath. Did you get albums that you didn't want, and did you ever return them?
Well, I don't think I knew fully how to return them. So if it came, this is on me. If it came, I kept it and I paid for it, whether I wanted it or not, because I had to do the right thing.
Sucker.
Well, I'm not a sucker. I'm an honest person with character and integrity. Or a sucker.
Well, you're $20 lighter and you have a copy of Tusk that you don't want.
I did have a copy of Tusk. Who knows where it is now?
So I got, there is a Cyndi Lauper cassette somewhere unopened, unless some homeless person found it and really wanted to listen to some upbeat mid-'80s dance music.
Now, was it her Girls Just Want to Have Fun cassette, or was it the one that came afterwards?
She's So Unusual.
Oh, that's a classic.
Well, it's there's a big old landfill right off of 240 in Oklahoma City. I imagine if you dig hard enough, you'll find it.
I did buy a metal detector recently, so that's something. Well, no, that's all plastic. Never mind.
Well, it's not even plastic. I think it was like fruit leather. They were so terribly made that if you rubbed it real hard, the ink would come off on the cassette part itself. The artwork was, like I said, spotty and terrible. And I never noticed that because it was, I won't say it was free, but it was 1/12 of a penny, which I think is a mill. Isn't that called a mill? Like that's what they have. We're going to raise taxes by a mill to pay for a pothole. I don't know.
No, I don't know, but I'm learning today that the record collection I got was subpar.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah.
I just didn't know.
The genius of the business model was built on suckers like you.
Thank you.
And guys like me got over on them. And it occurred to me later, I would say late high school, that they entered into a contract with a 12-year-old. I don't know what they can do about it.
My gosh. Yeah. See, I didn't have those thoughts. I didn't think that, hey, sue me. That never even crossed my mind, because I just didn't want to be taken off to the Columbia Record Jail, wherever that is. And
well, look, it's in Terre Haute, Indiana. That's where the jail was.
See, I'm learning all sorts of things today.
Yeah. So the business model worked, man. It was pretty genius. They had millions of people, and those commercials on TV, it just looked so fun. Remember the beer commercials in the 80s where there's two dudes moving a couch, because moving is so fun. Like your buddy out of an apartment, and there's a pretty girl on the couch eating pizza, and everybody's having a great time, and then they're drinking their Coors and high-fiving at the end of the commercial. Moving's not that fun. It's just not. And same kind of thing with this. Everybody is just having a ball filling that out and getting their records. What they don't tell is the telltale heart beating of a skipping record album under the floorboards. You can't sleep at night because you're not paying for it.
Oh my gosh. So did you say that they just now, after how many years?
71.
And they're closing up, and it's how are they still in business? I mean, who's still buying
I went to the
cassettes
website.
and
That's
CDs?
A great question. I went to the website, and it said they'll no longer conduct business for the traditional business that they have in September, but you can still buy movies and books from the website. And so I looked at the list, and it is like B Movie Central. knowing how they operated, I'm sure that some guy maybe got a camcorder and just set it up in front of the TV and just they're selling those movies. I don't know, but it's a movie you've never heard of, all of them. And then I didn't see a single book on there, even though they said I could buy them. So they
like
dwindled into nothing.
bootleg copies of like Kindergarten Cop and things like that. Is that the level of movies they had?
Yes, you've not heard of a name. I hadn't heard of any of these movies.
Okay, wow.
So I don't know if it's Ed and Cecil with their camcorder that made one in the backyard. I don't know, but I don't know. So
how many of your listeners do you think were members of the Columbia Record Club? All of them?
If it's a Gen X crowd, which Demo says it is here, I think you could probably get them together and count the ones that didn't.
You know that box in the closet? It's the one filled with old VHS tapes and reels and photos and slides that you just keep telling yourself you're going to do something with someday? Yeah, that box. Well, there's a good chance some of your favorite memories are sitting in that box. Your kids when they were little, Christmas mornings, vacations, birthday parties, and people you haven't seen in a real long time. Well, here's the problem. Those tapes aren't built to last forever. And that's where Digitize Center comes in. They take those old tapes and reels and photos and slides, and they turn them into high-quality digital files that you can actually watch, and then you can share them and enjoy them all over again. And with thousands of 5-star reviews, they've helped people all over the country preserve memories and moments that they never want to lose. Go to digitizecenter.com and use promo code FREENIGHTS for 60% off your order. That's free nights for 60% off. Don't let your best memories stay trapped in a box. Digitize them, save them, and share them. Digitize Center, because some things are worth keeping forever.
What demographic do you think it was? Like the upper class, lower class, middle class, or all classes?
Every class. I was on Facebook, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and a buddy of mine, he's actually co-hosted the show a couple of times, Chad Goucher, he's a pastor now. And he said, I'm looking at you, Scott Herndon. And there was some other name I didn't recognize, and I don't care because it wasn't me. That said, how many people got by with something here, and it was the Columbia House logo. Yeah, I did, and he knew I did, even though we'd never talked about it.
Well, I want your listeners to know that I fulfilled my obligation. I mean, they may have got their hooks in me, but I mean, I can put my head down tonight on the pillow and sleep just fine because I don't owe them anything.
Well, me neither, because they're out of business. Yeah. Well, look, it was a bizarre little ecosystem that existed before Amazon and certainly before streaming. Napster killed. I'm so tired of hearing 80s bands talk about Nirvana killing their career. Not that they made the same album 50 times and people just wanted to change. I keep hearing about how Amazon or Napster killed whatever kind of industry. While it's probably true, digital format was just going to come wipe this thing away anyway when people could just swap files like that. So there's and the website kind of proved that today when I went to it, and there's just nothing on it. I
mean, I subscribe to Apple Music, which means I have basically virtually every song ever made at my fingertips.
Isn't that crazy? Time. Yeah, I have Amazon Prime, and their music app is fantastic. And I do this all the time. I know you do. I'll get a song in my head. I just cannot shake it.
Yeah.
And so I got to play it. 2 days ago, it was Punk Rock Girl from the Dead Milkmen. I just, for whatever reason, that song was not going to leave me until I played it. And I hadn't heard it in 20 years. And it was as bad as I remembered. And it went away. I got to play it. I got to hear the end of the song and then it's gone.
I understand. I had a Chicago plane yesterday, the Peter Cetera years. I'm ashamed to admit it.
You should
be. But it was in my head and I had to listen to it. I didn't even have to. I got to be careful because my phone's right here. But I just had to tell my phone without even moving my hands. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to speak and the song played. And that's where we are now. So that's a big difference between 1980s when we had to fill out things and put a stamp on something and mail it.
Right. Yeah. I had I did an episode a couple of weeks ago about 1984, just the year 1984. And I attempted it with Mark Boucher. Man, we just could not get it on, couldn't get it recorded. There was just, we just started, jackassery. He had a lot of stuff going on, and he filled in late, and I just scrapped it, and we did it with Jason Dean, the Love Machine, the next week, and it turned out great. But I mentioned that what the price of a stamp was back then, and he said, "What's a stamp?" He's just kidding. Like, who mails something? Like, I know, nobody does. And that's so wild. But you just made a great point. Like, you live in George Jetson's life now, where you can think of a song and bellow out to your slave to play it for you, and there it is in full, like, 4K stereo. If this were 1982, you would have had to pick one of 12 albums for a penny, wait 6 to 8 weeks, pay handling, then you could have heard your earwig song and it would have been gone by then.
Or hear me out, you call the radio station, beg them to play the song, and then you sit by the radio for 4 hours with your cassette tape,
Yes.
ready to push record, and hoping it's not one of the cassettes that you've already knocked the thing out, so you can't record over the cassette.
Or you got to hope Greg Zubek doesn't talk for the first 30 seconds of the song.
Yes.
Yeah. That drives me crazy.
Greg.
Yeah,
Zubek.
Greg. So you would think that's it. You walking away. You know how like a satisfied baker would kind of clap his hands together as he takes off his apron and the flour flies everywhere. That was a good day. That's kind of what I should have done when the dust settled from Columbia House. But like I said earlier, I did it again in college because 12 CDs for a penny, that's even better than 12 cassettes. They're more expensive.
Well, I hope you can sleep tonight.
Well, it wasn't just to get over on them. I was going to probably pay for the other ones, but a buddy of mine in college, we had this idea like, dude, why don't we just get like 24 or 48, just different names. And then we'll have all these cassette or all these CDs. Dude, we'll get down to Happy Days music and we'll sell them brand new. Like, these are brand new with the cellophane on them still. And we're going to get like half of what they'll sell it for. And we'll walk out like kings. And of course, me, after the wrinkled brow tried to figure out what he was saying, he explained it again. And, oh, okay. And so we did it. And they came eventually. And, we didn't need whatever the money we needed for them. Something else came up though, So we got them. We were like, dude. And so we got we got the things that were selling. My buddy got like 5 copies of a Whitney Houston CD. And he's like going after the hits, man, because we're not listening to these, dude. This is product. We're going to start moving it. And so, man, we are just so proud of our genius idea. So we go down to the record store and I say, man, we got some CDs we want to sell. Maybe even trade them in, like if you have something good. And he's looking at them, and we're looking around the store, and I see like a concert shirt. Oh, I'm gonna steal everything from this guy. I'm gonna make out like a bandit. And he says, "Hey, man, I can't give you but a couple of bucks for all these." What are you talking about? No, these are like record club CDs. They aren't even real CDs. And that's when the light bulb just kind of burst. My great idea. Like, what do you mean? And then I'm thinking back to the 6th grade when the High Infidelity cover is just kind of blurry. You can't even see what's going on. And I could wipe the letters off the tape if I rub real hard with my thumb. And some of the lyric sheets were blurry enough to where you had to really get under a light and read them. Oh, okay. So these are essentially just bootlegs. They said, yeah, man, these come in here all the time. I can't sell them. Oh, well, so we took our 5 copies of Whitney Houston and I think some NWA.
Yeah.
And
wow.
we stuck them. We did the slow walk of shame out to the truck. And now what do? I don't know. Maybe we can like chunk them off the bridge. Like, that'd be cool. Like, they didn't work out. It's weird that my terrible idea didn't work out another time.
I now feel really stupid for paying my debt to society and fulfilling my obligation because I didn't realize I was getting a substandard product.
You were getting a substandard product, and the people in accounting turned around in amazement and high-fived each other when your check came in. What?
From Nancy L. Wilson. Thanks, Mom.
There's something cool back then about getting something in a newspaper or a magazine and cutting it out and mailing it in and hoping for the best in 6 to 8 weeks. That there was a magic there.
I know this is not on topic, but sea monkeys, remember sea monkeys?
I remember sea monkeys.
Yeah, see, that worked. That was legit.
It was brine shrimp, right? Like just floating around.
Yeah, but still, you still had to fill out the thing and mail it in.
The queen didn't have a
No,
crown. The
you're
king
right.
didn't have a little scepter. It's nonsense.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm sorry for getting us off topic, but you still had to, I guess the topic was mailing stuff in.
And the x-ray glasses won't let you see under a lady's sweater. It won't do it. Or you can't hold your hand up and see the bones.
Yeah. Well, that's on us.
Yeah, it is. And, I talk about how they were just almost a scam. Well, I scammed myself with their crappy scheme. So, and I think actually some money changed hands at that point. They sent me something and we wound up giving those CDs away. And I believe that I kept my obligation on that one because I got some CDs out of it. So I just didn't want 5 copies of Jelly Bean.
I think you're just saying that so if the Columbia House lawyers are listening in on this podcast, that they won't become chasing you down.
Well, I read an article this morning from a former Columbia House employee, and he worked in the collections department. And he said, although the millions of dollars they were making from suckers like Eddie Wilson, their collections department was a mimeograph machine, 2 old chain-smoking women and a typewriter.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And they would just send threatening letters, and then the second letters would come in red ink, and then they would send a final notice that had a different kind of envelope, and then they did nothing because that was becoming expensive, trying to get $20 out of an 11-year-old.
Man, the things I know now.
No further action was ever taken, he said. And the collection letters paid for that, certainly paid for the organization within the business because he said they got all kinds of checks from that. So,
okay. All right. Good to know.
So, Columbia House, man, it is finally going away. All those little cardboard pieces that went to the post office. We did that without customer service chat and 24-hour, texting for support. But what kind of support do you need? Oh, it's not playing side 2. Turn it over. Okay. Gotcha.
Nice.
So, goodbye, Columbia House, who, by the way, was responsible for 1 out of every 6 albums produced for like a 6-year period in the late 70s and early 80s.
Well, R.I.P. Columbia House.
Yeah. You imagine getting like those gatefold albums, you like open it up and it looks like some child colored it. Like it's like, what? This isn't what? Okay. It was 1/12 of a penny. I guess you get what you pay for.
Now that you say it, I do remember that we had a hot summer and my normal albums were fine, but most of my Columbia House records, they warped.
Of course they did, because they were made out of licorice, pressed licorice.
Nice.
Yeah. Can you imagine like later, like remember Manson said that he did those crimes because something on the Beatles' White Album was telling him to do that?
Helter Skelter.
Yeah. And so when he gets an actual copy that's not Columbia House, oh crap, that's not what they're saying at all. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's going to work.
That's not going to work. Damn it, Ad.
You know what? I've said this before. He wasn't the best. He was my absolute favorite.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Who's the best? EVH?
Yeah. It's a Dutch kid with a red striped guitar. Or Stevie Ray Vaughan, or Malmsteen, or David Gilmour, Mark Knopfler.
Okay. Back on track. The 12. Your original 12. You're stuck on guitarist, aren't you?
Steve Vai's pretty good.
The show's over, and I don't know what to do with myself till next Friday.
You could spend hours making your own free nights and weekends t-shirts and coffee mugs, but now there's a better way.
There's got to be a better way.
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh, I didn't know what that meant.
A quality industrial sewing machine could cost more than $20,000 probably. Would you pay $200 for a gorgeous free nights and weekends magnet?
I would.
Probably.
Yes.
Not with this special offer, you won't. Follow the FNAW swag link on this player, and you'll spend a fraction of that on quality FNAW merchandise you crave. No more downloading sketchy copies of design software. No more blacking out with rage, trying to get the typeset all lined up perfectly. We do all that. Follow the link for the finest t-shirts, mugs, koozies, and tumblers, and support the show. Operators are standing by.